Ross Chastain will be first to finish in the Ally 500 at Nashville Super Speedway.
Nashville's exclusive home for NASCAR. 102.5 and 106.3.
Checkered flag is in the air.
Man, this is a win in the cup race.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Covering your teams and the news of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mace.
It was pleasant to listen to.
With Caroline Fenton, Willy Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
You are hands down my favorite radio personality of all time.
On 102.5 and 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app.
With no further ado,
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app. We are live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Game Studios, and we are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live every single day. Jonathan Hutton, Hot Mic with Hutton and Withrow, will join us in 1 hour, and we will get his thoughts on the news of the morning. Woke up this morning, opened my phone, saw the news that Ian Rappaport reported that Will Levis will get the start on Sunday against the Atlanta Falcons. Mike Vrabel is up at the podium now, so we will send it over to him.
You say yesterday that you're working both Will and Malik if Ryan isn't able to play. But if it's going to be Will as your starter on Sunday, doesn't it make sense to give him all the reps with the ones this week?
I never said that Will was going to be the starter. Both of them will play if Ryan can't. We'll see how Ryan feels. He may do a little bit of work later in practice today. But that's how we are. That's where we're at right now.
Obviously, Will, I guess, improve maybe, especially in the last week, getting some extra reps in practice.
I think just getting more comfortable. I think both those guys got good work in, really good work, and whether it was third down or 2-minute red zone, some of the stuff that we were able to cover last week.
Situational awareness or feel for the game on the play where he stayed in bounds, for example, at late in the game. I feel like he's made enough progress in that area.
Well, I mentioned before, I thought that again, for a young quarterback, I think anyone coming off the, in a backup role, it probably wasn't the easiest situation. But we do have to start understanding some of those things and where we're at, and making great decisions and trying to understand that there's more to the game, right? Than just the first, second, and third down. Things are pretty clean, and then when things go off schedule, situationally, we all have to be better.
For those guys doing practices this time of year, you obviously had so much time with them in the spring and summer. Just is there anything new you can see with these reps in these practices, or is it kind of the same as for them?
No, I think that things change. Things are always going to change, and what they how they execute the game plan, the command of the huddle, the formationally, operationally, and then just the ability to deliver the ball on time and know where to go with the football, have an idea, anticipate throws, being smart with the football, taking a profit, all those things that we think, lead to efficiency.
In that being that sense, the anticipation for Willis, is there something you guys could do to maybe speed up the process and maybe help him see things open before they're actually open, whereas you're throwing to a spot as opposed to like waiting for the receiver to get open?
I would say that there's things that we can do on all levels to help our players, and we need to keep doing that.
But for Willis specifically, is there something that you can do to help him out? Is there something more that can be done, whether it's play calling or just more?
Play calling can help anticipation, maybe. I think when you talk about anticipation, it's the timing mechanism. Where you're looking in the coverage, right? Is it man or is it zone? The receivers, I think it's a total process, right? Being able to, have protection, to be able to, one, if it's not there on the first read, to be able to progress, know where guys are going to be, throwing it out in front of guys, allowing guys to catch a run.
What's the biggest challenge for a guy who's not played in an NFL game, not basically to be able to go out and execute at the quarterback position?
I don't know. I've never played quarterback, so I have to ask the guys that played quarterback and started their first game. Go play. Go find a way to help us beat the Falcons. That's where we're at.
On the both quarterbacks playing thing.
I'm going to focus on the Falcons. Good.
For this game.
And we're going to talk about the Falcons, Joe. Why are you holding your hands like that?
I'm trying to get a question in here.
Well, then ask the question. No, I'm just saying, you look ridiculous. Just ask the question, Joe.
Okay, let me ask you a question. On the 2 quarterback thing, would that be
against a really good defense? We have to run the football, whoever plays quarterback.
okay?
Whether
would that
that's
be
Ryan.
switching series, or would that be like one guy's the starter and one guy's
No,
the
we'll figure out the game plan as we work through the week. We may run the plays in with them. It could be by series, could be every 2 series. It could have certain things that we like. We'll see where where Ryan is, and but again, I'm excited if Ryan can't play that both we'll get a look at both of those quarterbacks, and we'll need both of them to help us win, and Falcons are doing some really good things.
You don't buy the adage that if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have a quarterback?
No, I don't. Don't buy that adage. We got 3 on the roster, and we'll see where Ryan is with his ankle, and go from there.
The hip drop, the tackle might.
Go ahead, Kayla.
Been a lot in the.
Kayla, go ahead.
When it comes to Desmond Ritter, and just in terms of how he's coming along, what do you see positive out of him? And then just in terms of he has had some issues with holding on to the football, and how can you take advantage of that?
We have to. I think that he's made some really, really outstanding plays. I don't anticipate the quarterback center exchange that he had, but teams have done a good job trying to get the ball away from him. We have to do a better job of that. Defensively, we understand that. We've done some good things on defense. I would say that we're not turning the ball over as much as we should or attempting it. So again, he's made some really nice throws. He's thrown where guys can run. He's thrown good seam balls, but he's also athletic, and he'll take off and run and convert. Go ahead, John.
You said that the hip drop tackle seems to be in the news quite a bit. Something the league, I guess, is going to take a look at. I'm curious, as somebody on the competition committee, your thoughts on that, and was that one that injured Tannehill?
It was, and in the pocket, and I don't know what the answer is. I don't want players to get hurt, but I also want to give defenders an opportunity to make a play. It's hard on skill players. It's hard sometimes in space. That was not in space, and so there's going to be defenders that are smaller or bigger, maybe not as fast as other players with football. I don't know what the answer is. I know the answer is that we want to try to make the game as good as we can possibly make it, but also as safe as possible. Just not sure what that is right now.
Are you and your staff unable to discern which quarterback is better at this stage?
No, I'm not able to. I'm taking a look at 2 young quarterbacks, and again, if Ryan is unavailable for the game, take a look at both of them.
Is one better than the other?
I don't know if I'm ready to answer that.
There's always stress on getting the run game going, but in this particular situation, is it even more important to try and help alleviate some of the stress on the shoulders of 2 young quarterbacks?
Whoever our quarterback's going to end up being, we will have to be able to control the line of scrimmage. They've done a really nice job against the run in the last 3 games. Very good defensive front, play with technique. They play with, power. So yeah, that'll be, that'll be critical. Whoever plays quarterback for us, and sometimes we've had good opportunities. We've hit some double-digit runs. Guys are finishing, and then other times we're just weren't able to get things started in a run game. So it's a consistency thing.
Any different challenge or concern when you go against Arthur Smith and him having been intimately familiar with how you guys operate and do things?
I guess no more so than us having an idea of who Arthur is and what they want to do. He's got some good weapons on offense and try to use the, Bijan out of the backfield. They'll run it with him. They'll throw it to him. They'll scheme some plays up. Drake London seems to be a receiver that's competitive and strong, and Pitts and Jonnu, when they get running, build really good speed, and Algier runs hard, and so I think it'll just be critical that we're aware of the different personnel that's in the game.
On what you've seen based on practice, etc. But given what you're trying to do as a football team, shouldn't you know which one is better at this point?
I mean, Will didn't play many preseason snaps, so I think that would be hard to determine. Malik's a young quarterback that hasn't had a whole lot of snaps, and so I don't know. I mean, you can say whatever you want. I don't know. We're just trying to figure out who's going to be available, and if that's Ryan, then we'll have a plan, and if that's not Ryan, then we'll have two quarterbacks that we'll have a role in the football game.
With that drop back passing game that you wanted to avoid because of some of the deficiencies up front for
Routinely and over and over and over and redundant. You know what I mean? I meant when you get down in a game and you have to just basically go into a passing game, a drop back passing game, much sooner than you would like, I guess, to try to clarify that. Right.
You had mentioned the 7-step drops and just the longer development plays. So what I was going to ask you is, with
or the amount of guys out in the route. I mean, we can drop back and throw it with two guys in a route, right? Yeah, I mean, so it's just the how you build some of these things.
But with that, when you have a rookie like Levis back there, does it come even more important to make sure you stay out of those situations or avoid them as much as possible?
Yeah, I mean, we want to try to avoid those as much as possible, being down in the game and forcing ourselves to throw. And I mean, you get into third down, and sometimes it's what you have to do. And so again, I just was talking about in first and second down normal offenses. There's just not a whole lot of teams from my exposure of watching that just routinely live in that. That's or second and long for that matter. And guys are changing their mentality. The coverage changes. The pass rush mentality changes on second and 10, versus second and 2.
How are Chris Moore and Josh Wiley coming out of the protocol?
Both, I think, are still in it just because they have to practice fully and then get cleared. Chris will be out there today. I don't think Josh will be out there.
Mike, through 6 games, how do you evaluate your own pass rushing and what you guys have accomplished so far? Are you happy with it, or do you want more?
We hit the quarterback 3 times the last 2 games, so that's not going to be good enough to affect the quarterback.
How involved would you expect Terrell Edmonds to be able to be this week with a quick turnaround?
Showed up with a fantastic attitude. Played in a football game Sunday night. Showed up here ready to go. Was excited. Had a great attitude. Did some stuff yesterday. So I would say that if he keeps progressing like he has in just the short amount of time that he's been here, he could potentially play.
Nicholas yesterday, what's the adjustment like him getting used to playing maybe on the left side is from a technique standpoint?
I have an opportunity to ask him how he feels, but I think that there is some, it's not like we haven't asked him to be ready to go or prepare on both sides throughout the off season or training camp and his time away. So again, there's some things that you got to be able to stay inside out. You got to be able to punch. You got to be able to redirect, and so maybe some of the footwork is a little different, but I'm confident that he'll be ready to go.
What's happened with the pass rush in these 2 games, Mike?
Got to win. You got to win. You got to beat somebody, and that's what pass rush is. It's what this whole league is. You can only double team so many guys, and that's what happens.
Mike, the familiarity that you have with some of the personnel that are now in Atlanta, does that help at all, or is it how they're being used in the schemes that they're playing there in Atlanta that matters more?
Well, I think having familiarity, helps. I mean, understanding, what their skill set is and what they can do. But you'll also have to adjust to the play based on what coverage we have or what they're running. To know that, what each guy's strengths are, I think is somewhat obvious.
Even with Wiley's status, where it's at, as you just mentioned, what are you hoping to see out of some guys in the tight end room, maybe in terms of their production and running routes and things of that nature with the quarterback situation this week?
Tight end's job is to execute the blocking scheme when we call the run, catch the ball when we throw it to them, be able to, to get open, to be able to have some route craft when it's, man coverage, to be able to get into the zones, be able to get into seams and post-safety defense, post-safety zone. So have a great day.
Yeah, Joe. Quit looking like an idiot with your hands.
What are you doing with your hands?
Joe,
what are you doing with your hands?
You're like, what you call it in Talladega Nights. Like, what do you do with your hands? Like, Joe, put your hands down. Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
Just ask the question. Just ask the question, Joe.
Exactly.
Duffy was giving Jared yesterday, now telling Joe that he looks like an idiot today.
Oh,
what kind
man.
of beef does Mike Vrabel have with 1-5 the game?
Goodness gracious. What was the name of the guy on Talladega Nights?
Ricky Bobby?
Yeah, Ricky Bobby. I'm gonna start calling Rex Ricky Bobby. That's his name. Ricky Bobby. Joe Bobby. Hey, Joe Bobby. Hold on. I know we gotta get to this. We got to talk about this. But I would have loved to be in the room to see what was Rex doing with his hands.
Yeah, I got to know now.
Yeah.
It's theater of the mind, right? We all have this image in our mind because we can't see it.
I'm picturing Joe like with his hands like in the most cockamamie position, but I feel like Joe's hand was probably just raised.
Was
like,
he doing
hey, I
air
have a
quotes?
question.
Was he doing air quotes?
Was he flipping
two
off Mike
quarterback
Vrabel?
thing? Were you talking about the two quarterback
my
thing?
goodness.
Is that what he was doing? Being a smarty?
He could have been.
Something like this.
Because you know what? A two quarterback thing deserves air quotes. So this two quarterback thing, that thing that you want to try to sell to us that you're going to do, but we all know that you're not going to do.
Was Vrabel saying, "Are you getting smart with me"? Is that what he meant to say?
Well, it was a very good question that Joe asked. So you say we're going to see both quarterbacks. What does that look like?
He successfully, after all of that, did get him to clarify a little bit that he said he's not ruling out after every couple series, I'll put the other guy in, and that's kind of what he wanted to know, right? That's what we all wanted to know.
Punishing Joe for asking a very fair and intelligent question that we've all been wondering?
I'm trying to ask a question. Well, ask your question.
For his hand gestures or how he contorted his hands, I think that's why he was upset. Yeah. Not necessarily at the questions. He just looked at his hands as he was asking the question. It's like, what in the hell are you doing,
Your
man?
hands are dumb.
Yeah. Vrabel is on one.
Unnecessary.
He is on one. The last couple of days, he's been,
It's tough.
Like our producer Nick Frazier pointed out, he goes to Foxborough and all of a sudden he comes back with a new refreshed sense of Bill Belichick ease.
We're on to
my
Cincinnati.
goodness. We're on to Cincinnati.
We're on to Atlanta. We're on to Atlanta.
But
we're on to Atlanta and your hands are stupid.
Exactly. So Joe, Bobby, that's your new name. Fix your hands, okay? Find something to do. Put your hands in your pocket when you're asking questions to Vrabel next time, okay? So he can't mess with you.
Sit on your hands.
Exactly. Do something other than what you were doing. I would love to see the visual of that. I know it was funny. But I explained to you as it was going on, Caroline. Mm-hmm. I understand why Joe and Paul are asking the questions. But I think after a while, you got to understand why he's answering the questions the way he is. He, in a sense, it's like he don't want to give Atlanta any ammunition. He want to make Atlanta, prepare for it. Because he kept referring back to Ryan Tannehill.
And speaking of Ryan Tannehill, he is speaking with the media now, so we'll send it over to Ryan Tannehill at the podium.
same spot exactly, or is it different spot a little bit? Like,
oh, it's a high ankle sprain, so yeah, a little bit different though, because I had the surgery on it last year, so the force got spread a little differently. But it's a high ankle sprain.
So the surgery kind of helps if you do it again later. Is that?
Yeah, basically.
What's the balance of responsibility like for you this week, trying to get out there and play on Sunday, but also, if not, making sure that the younger guys are as ready as possible?
Yeah, doing everything I can physically to heal and recover, be on top of the game plan mentally, and then just helping prepare those guys in meetings, going over all the different looks, what we're looking for in the pass game, the different looks we could see in the run game, and making sure we're all on the same page.
You played with it before. What are the challenges playing with an ankle injury as far as limiting you on what you can do and kind of being yourself?
Yeah, anytime you deal with an injury, you're not able to move like you want to, and that's kind of the determining factor of being able to play, right? Is being able to do your job effectively and keep yourself out of harm's way, being able to move enough to be effective and not just be a sitting duck back there.
Beyond that, how about the push off, which was the thing that you said kind of took you out of the game in terms of the mechanics of throwing?
Yeah, no question. Got to be able to push off, not only to throw, but to step up in the pocket and get away from center, all those types of things. So definitely a big part of it.
What have you been able to do so far, and just kind of what are the next steps as you want to progress?
Yeah, just working with the rehab team in here. They're doing a great job with all the modalities and treatments. So steady on that, and just going to keep down that path.
Is that pretty much a level of frustration just having to go through this again?
Definitely frustrated, right? It's not a situation you want to be in, but that's the cards that I've been dealt. So trying to keep a positive attitude as much as I can and take advantage of every day and, physically get myself on the right track and then mentally stay engaged and be ready to go when the time comes.
Is it concerning also that not only a game set for Sunday, but then a short week turnaround right after that Thursday in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, it'll be a quick week next week, and we'll see where we're at when we get there.
Was this a hip drop tackle, Ryan, I guess, in your opinion? And I wonder also, was the last time you got hurt on the ankle, was that maybe a hip drop tackle as well?
Yeah, it was definitely a hip drop tackle this time. Kind of the same thing in LA at the end of the season last year. So, yeah, tough one there.
Should something be done? I know the NFL is considering making changes there. Is that something you think should be removed from the game, or can it be removed?
I don't know. I'd have to study it more. I know a lot of injuries, especially high ankle sprains, come from the hip drop tackle. But then at the same time, you look at defensively, how do you fully eliminate it from being in that position, So I'm probably not the guy to ask because I've not in the on the defensive side of the ball. But yeah, it's definitely an area where injuries are caused, but it's not an easy elimination if they were to do that.
What's the progression been like as far as recovery? You went from, I guess, walking boot and crutches to Mike said you were on a scooter. When did you get off that and start walking?
Yeah, I was in a cast for a few days into the weekend. Then I was in a walking boot and scooter for a few days, and then just got off the scooter and into a shoe.
The suture that was put in place in the last surgery, is that still in place doing its job effectively to your understanding right now?
Yeah, no question. It's I had the tightrope as part of my ankle surgery at the end of the year, so still have those cables in there, doing their job.
Ryan, what do you most remember from your first NFL start? What's the most difficult aspect of somebody who's never gone through that before, maybe having to go?
It's different for everybody. Mine was a long time ago. It's tough to think back. 12 years ago now, but it's a fun experience. You're learning a lot. You're taking it all in, and trying to do your best. So, every person has to cross that bridge when the time comes.
Have you had a chance? In terms of Kevin Byard, just your thoughts on finding out he was traded, and how big is it with that leadership void in the locker room to continue to have guys step up in that?
Yeah, no doubt going to be tough to replace Kevin. A guy who has meant a lot to this organization, to the city, to this locker room for as long as I've been here and before that, So definitely a tough loss for us and tough to wrap your mind around. But we have great leaders in this locker room. We can hopefully fill that void as much as possible. It's tough, right? Like I said, Kevin was such a good quality cornerstone of this locker room, but we have other great leaders on this team, myself included, that we can hopefully fill that void as much as we can, and just keep our heads down, keep working. That's all we can do at this point.
How hard is it, though, when a team does move one of its cornerstone pieces, to kind of just turn around and say, okay, one of our best guys is gone, still same expectations? Is that a challenge to do when it's not like an injury, it's when the team...
Yeah, no doubt it's tough. No doubt it's tough. But unfortunately, that's the nature of the business, and as players, that's our responsibility is to come to work and do our best to go out and play quality football and find a way to win. Some things are out of our hands. May not like it, may not understand it, but have to control what you can control and go out and do the best job you can.
Ryan, last one. Mike said you're not practicing today, but will you be out there on the field the entire time, or will you get treatment, or what's your plan for today?
Yeah, a little bit of combination. I'll get some treatment, make sure I'm doing everything I can, and then also want to stay engaged and in tune with the game plan and with everything that we're doing out on the field. Thank you.
Okay, Tannehill will not practice today, but we'll react to the quarterback situation coming up next, because we've got some contrasting reports that we need to get to the bottom to, and we'll do that coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
When you want all the...
Going in and the score. Blast the score. He risks one, they score.
And don't forget the...
Oh, what a stop. Sliding across to make the save. The backhander, nice stop.
When all you want is... Smashville. We have you covered. Hear every Predators game right here. We are your home for Smashville. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Happy hump day, everyone. Hey, listen, we got some games tonight, some college games tonight. So if you want to bet, then I just know you're using Zen Sports. And if you're not using Zen Sports, there's no better time to switch over to Zen Sports, which is the fastest growing sports book in Tennessee, revolutionizing the way you bet on sports with their cash reward program. When you sign up for Zen Sports with the code D-Mason, D-M-A-S-O-N, you will earn a welcome bonus that gives you 5% cash back on your total betting volume for your first 15 days of betting. Think about that for a second. 5% cash back on your total play with no limits to how much you can earn as a cash rebate on your bets. So what are you waiting for? Stop wasting your time and your money betting on other sports books to only earn credit and points. Who does that? When you could be earning real cash rewards with Zen Sports. Download today on the App Store or zensports.com. Your wallet and or purse will thank you later, people. Gambling problems, call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 years or older to bet here in Tennessee.
Hi, this is Al Smith, former All-Pro linebacker for the Houston Oilers and president of the NFL Alumni Tennessee chapter. As a former player, I've always focused on my health. Did you know that about 1 in every 3 people in the U.S. will have shingles in their lifetime? As we get older, our risks of having shingles and its serious complications increases. Getting the shingles vaccine is the only way to prevent shingles. So join me and gear up against shingles.
Vanderbilt Commodore fans, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, along with 94.9 The Fan, is your new home for broadcast of games and the Commodore Hour on Monday evenings. Catch all the action for football, men's and women's basketball, and baseball all season long. Go Doors!
Hey, it's John Tesh. You know, we've all felt the impact of inflation on everything from food to housing to gas. But most people don't realize the cost of your home and auto insurance is also likely to go up. With the rising cost of building materials, car parts, and labor, even the insurance companies are taking a hit, which means you will too. So if you're working with a company that only has one option and not a company that shops multiple carriers to find the best deal, you're wasting your money. It's why you should be working with Zander Insurance. They represent over 24 top insurance companies that are competing for your business, meaning you get the right home and auto coverage at the lowest prices this year and every year. And Zander's service can't be beat, I know from experience. Just check out their reviews. Saving money has to be a priority these days. Go to Zander.com or call 800-356-4282 and find out how much you can save. You'll see why over 500,000 families trust Xandr.
Hey, Nashville, this is Laura Rutledge from the SEC Network, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
My understanding is the Tennessee Titans are preparing to start Will Levis this Sunday's game against the Atlanta Falcons. The second-round pick is expected to make his NFL debut, and when he does, based on the sources I've spoken with, he should be the primary signal caller. Now, Mike Vrabel, the head coach, said with Ryan Tannehill likely out dealing with a high ankle sprain, both Malik Willis and Will Levis should play on Sunday. I have no doubt about that. But my understanding is Levis should be the primary signal caller. I know a lot of interest in Levis, and a lot of people thought he was going to be a first-rounder. Very talented passer from Kentucky. Should get a lot of him this Sunday against the Falcons.
So that was Ian Rappaport on NFL Network this morning. He had that report on Good Morning Football, also tweeted it out that Will Levis is going to be the starter. And then we just heard from Mike Vrabel. And Mike Vrabel was asked about the quarterback situation. This is what Mike Vrabel had to say about the quarterback situation. If we have that from Vrabel.
Both Will and Malik if Ryan isn't able to play. But if it's going to be Will as your starter on Sunday, doesn't it make sense to give him all the reps with the ones this week?
I never said that Will was going to be the starter. Both of them will play if Ryan can't. We'll see how Ryan feels. He may do a little bit of work later in practice today. But that's how we are. That's where we're at right now.
So Vrabel never said Will Levis is going to be the starter, but NFL insider Ian Rappaport, who I think we would all agree has pretty good sources, said that Will Levis was going to be the starter. So somebody's lying around these parts. Somebody's not telling the 100% truth. And let me say, in my opinion, I think it's Vrabel that's not telling the truth. I think that Will Levis is getting the start, and Mike Vrabel just doesn't want to say it. So it wasn't Vrabel that leaked it to Ian Rappaport. Then who was it?
It was definitely not Vrabel that leaked
definitely
it.
not
Rappaport. But Vrabel would simply join a list of about 3 million coaches that have tried to be coy about a quarterback situation, especially when you got young guys. So you understand what Vrabel is doing. And he's trying to stay consistent. He's trying to say, look, I'm going to say what I said yesterday. He's going to stick to his story, and he's not going to worry about what gets reported. Now, he's probably not happy with somebody.
Exactly.
If in fact that's an accurate report, which I think it very likely is. I think this is what we all suspected they were going to try to do anyway. To me, that's not the story. The story is that when pressed by Joe with the hands and all
hands,
that,
yeah.
he did
Your dumb hands.
continue to say if Tannehill cannot go, and based on what Tannehill said, it looks still slim and none, and slim is on the way out the door about him playing.
So
It
none is taking over.
Seems very unrealistic that he could play. And really, would you want to put him out there if he's really hurting? And that's what you would get. You would get a very hobbled version at best, and probably very little practice. He's not going to be able to do basically anything today other than be out there and watch, it sounded like, from Brian Tannehill.
Right, and he's getting
So-
majority treatment today. It's Wednesday.
To me, the story is that the right thing to do is to quote, play both? Or is he just trying to, give a little bit of trickeration, what do you call it, cloak and dagger, smoke and mirrors to the Falcons when it is going to be when it is going to be Levis that is the guy? I don't know. That's what I can't figure out. I'm not a believer, really, in the let's play both. I think if it's time for Levis to start, Teresa's question to me would be my question. Let's give Levis the shot.
Yeah.
Well, I think
Be decisive about it.
I think what it boils down to is you don't want either guy to get complacent in the sense of
Right.
I named Willis the starter.
I want to keep you involved. I don't want you to think
Levis
I'm putting
sit
you
back. Okay, I'm
out to pasture.
Exactly. I'm
Right.
just gonna sit back here and I'm not going to prepare as if I'm the starter, which I don't. I think both of them, even if he named Will Levis the starter, I think Malik Willis will still prepare as if he's going to start and play as he should. But I think he wants to keep those two guys because what it is it's a unless he's told them you're starting, you're the backup. I think it's sort of this game that, coaches play with players to keep them engaged, to keep them on point, to make sure nobody's taken for granted that, okay, you're the starter this week. You take it for granted. I'm the starter. I want to make sure both of y'all know. Both of y'all are going to get an opportunity to play. I don't know who starter is going to be. Y'all tell me by your play and practice who the starter is going to be. And I think, honestly, I think is a good tactic because you want both of these guys to prepare as if they are going to be the guy. So they are crossing every T, dotting every I. So to me, I don't see anything wrong with it because I know ultimately
that can work.
He's going to make his decision.
There's
And
more
he's
than
gonna
one way to do this.
Exactly.
No question.
He's going to have his quarterback. And whoever doesn't start, I do truly believe is going to be Will Levis. But if Will Levis is not doing well, then I think he would then go to Malik Willis for a series or two. And then allow Will Levis to settle down, bring Malik Willis in, and then sort of go back and forth. But if Will Levis is doing great, I think it's his game to go. You don't go back and forth. Once you see he's getting into a rhythm, don't go back and forth now.
And when Mike Vrabel said yesterday we'd see both quarterbacks, I think that was taken and kind of ran with it like it was going to be what we saw in the preseason.
Yeah.
Where one quarterback gets a quarter, the other quarterback gets a quarter.
I don't know if you could do that.
I don't think you can do that in the regular season.
Yeah,
like you're not gonna.
But he kind of entertained something similar to that, didn't he? When
Yeah,
pressed
he
about
did.
it,
But I can't see
You're
that.
not gonna like switch.
he kind of he didn't
possessions.
commit to it, but he kind of said maybe it's a couple series, maybe it's this and that. He kind of left
He left the door
options open. Yeah,
So
I don't believe
purposely.
him.
Yeah,
I don't believe him.
I
We know his mind's made up.
Yeah, I
I
do
mean, Ian
truly.
Rappaport said so.
Yeah. Somebody put that out there, whether it was Will Levis's people. I can't see Vrabel because if Diana would have said it, then I would say, okay, it came from Vrabel. Came from Vrabel, yes. But I can't see Vrabel telling Ian Rappaport he's going. Maybe Levis's people told him, hey, listen, he told us we will get the first crack at it. So,
And I want to know, because, I think we all agree. It wasn't Vrabel. He sounded very obviously peeved about that getting out. And he wanted to squander that as soon as he possibly could. But what does Will Levis's agents get out of leaking that information to the media?
I mean, just to, I don't know. I mean,
I think it damages trust more than it does anything.
no, because they know stuff like this. Things are going to get out. And I don't think the whole quarterback issue is as big as Vrabel sort of is making it seem by his reactions or his answers to the questions. I think he's escalating it by the way he, react to the question. So he's escalating it all, but I don't think it's to
By
him.
telling Joe that his hands look
exactly.
stupid?
I don't think it's a big deal to him. I really don't. I think it's how's your player looking? Will he get to start this week? And he'll probably say, he's scheduled to start. And so that's how it gets out. I think if Vrabel was too really worried about it, he wouldn't have said anything to any quarterback, either one of the quarterbacks.
But if he wasn't not worried about it, then why not be a little bit more transparent about the situation? I know he doesn't have to be.
Because he's Vrabel. He's just Vrabel. He's irritated. His season isn't going